Jake Morrison stood at the window of his spaceship. He was looking out at the dark space around Earth's moon. His hands were shaking a little bit. Today was different from any other day in human history. 17 strange ships had just appeared out of nowhere. They were silver and blue, and they looked like nothing humans had ever built. The ships were big and smooth, with curves that seemed to flow like water. They moved silently through space. Coming closer to Earth. Jake was the commander of the UES Horizon, one of Earth's best spaceships. But compared to these alien ships, his ship looked like an old toy. The alien ships were beautiful and scary at the same time. "Sir, we're getting a message," said Pete Williams, the man who handled all the radio calls. His voice was excited but nervous. "Put it through," Jake said. His heart was beating fast. The main screen lit up. A face appeared that was almost human, but not quite. The being had large blue eyes and pale skin. Its face was longer than a human face, and it had no hair. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said. Its voice was calm and friendly. It spoke perfect English. "I am Ambassador Kethvar of the Zelethi people. We come in peace." Jake could hear people talking excitedly all over his ship. This was really happening. Aliens were talking to humans for the first time ever. On Luna Station, near the moon, Admiral Lisa Carter was watching everything happen. She had been waiting for this moment her whole life. Lisa had always believed that humans were not alone in the universe. Now she was right. "Get me a line to Earth Command," Lisa told her team. "And call Dr. Warren. We need him here right away." Dr. Alex Warren was Earth's best expert on old things and lost history. He studied ruins and ancient writings. When he got the call, he was looking at some old stones that had strange marks on them. He dropped everything and ran to his ship. Back in space, Ambassador Kethvar was still talking. "We have been watching your world for some time," he said. "Your people have just learned to travel between the stars. This is a great step for any young race." Jake felt a little insulted. Young race? Humans had been around for thousands of years. But he kept quiet and listened. "We want to welcome you to the Galactic Confederation," Kethvar continued. "There are many worlds and many peoples out there. We can teach you much. We can show you how to travel faster between stars. We can give you new technology. We can protect you from dangers you do not yet know about." The alien's words sounded good, but something felt wrong to Jake. The way Kethvar talked made it sound like humans were children who needed help with. Everything. Dr. Warren arrived at Luna Station just as the aliens were sending over some of their people to meet with humans. The alien visitors were tall and thin. They wore clothes that seemed to be made of light itself. They moved in a way that was graceful but strange. "Welcome to our station," Lisa said to the aliens. She tried to sound confident, but inside she felt very small. The lead alien visitor was named Shendal. He looked around the station with eyes that seemed to see everything. "Your technology is ... simple," he said. "But that is to be expected from a world that has just begun to reach for the stars." Dr. Warren watched the aliens carefully. Something about them seemed familiar, but he could not figure out what it was. The way they moved, the patterns on their clothes, even the shape of their ships, it all reminded him of something he had seen before. The aliens showed the humans some of their technology. They had devices that could heal cuts in seconds. They had computers that could think faster than any human brain. They had ships that could cross the galaxy in days instead of years. "All of this can be yours," Kethvar said during a meeting with Earth's leaders. "You just need to join our confederation. We will guide you. We will teach you. We will keep you safe." The Earth leaders were amazed. President Carol Adams asked many questions. The aliens answered them all with patience, like teachers talking. to young students, but Dr. Warren was not convinced. That night, he went back to his lab and looked at the old stones again. The marks on them looked just like the patterns he had seen on the alien ships, but these stones were thousands of years old. How could that be? Jake Morrison was also having doubts. He had been in space for many years. He knew what new technology looked like, and he knew what old technology looked like. Some of the alien equipment looked very old, even though it was more advanced than anything humans had. On Earth, people were celebrating. The news was full of stories about the aliens. Everyone was excited about joining the Galactic Confederation. They dreamed of traveling to other worlds and meeting other peoples. But a few people were asking questions. Why had the aliens found Earth now? How did they know so much about humans? And why did they seem so interested in keeping humans safe and protected? The aliens said they wanted to help. They said they wanted to guide humanity into a bright future among the stars. But some people wondered if the aliens had other plans. As the first day of contact ended, Jake looked out at the alien ships again. They were still there, waiting and watching. He had a feeling that nothing would ever be the same again. He just hoped that whatever came next would be good for humanity. The stars had always seemed so far away. Now they felt very close. And Jake was not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. 3 weeks had passed since the aliens first came to Earth. Captain Ryan Stone was now working with them on Mars. The red planet had always been empty and quiet. Now it was full of activity. Ryan was digging in the Martian soil with both human and alien tools. The Zelethi had said they wanted to help humans learn about their solar system. They were very interested in Mars for some reason. "Look at this," said Dr. Amy Foster, holding up a strange rock. She was a geologist who studied planets and rocks. "This crystal formation is very unusual." Ryan took the rock and looked at it closely. The crystal was clear and had a blue glow inside it. It looked just like the crystals he had seen in the Zelethi ships. "How old is this rock?" Ryan asked. Amy ran some tests with her equipment. Her face went pale. "According to these readings, this crystal is over 2 million years old." "But Ryan, this matches the alien technology exactly." Ryan felt cold inside. How could alien technology be millions of years old on Mars? The aliens had said they just discovered Earth recently. Back on Earth, Dr. Emma Foster was working at a big radio station that listened to space. She had been studying the signals coming from the alien ships. What she found made her very worried. "Katie, come look at this," Emma called to her assistant, Katie Phillips. Katie walked over to Emma's computer. The screen showed patterns of radio waves. "What am I looking at?" "These are the signals from the alien ships," Emma explained. "But look at this." She showed Katie another pattern. "This is a signal we recorded 15 years ago. We thought it was just noise from space." Katie stared at the two patterns. They were exactly the same. "The aliens were here 15 years ago?" "Maybe longer," Emma said. "I found similar signals going back 30 years in our old records. They've been watching us for a very long time." At the Joint Research Facility, Lieutenant Colonel Matt Parker was watching the alien visitors. His job was to keep everyone safe, but the aliens made him nervous. The aliens never seemed surprised by anything humans showed them. When humans demonstrated their computers, the aliens just nodded like they already knew how they worked. When humans showed them art and music, the aliens looked bored. But the strangest thing was how the aliens acted around human children. Whenever kids came to visit the facility, the aliens would watch them very carefully. They seemed more interested in the children than in any human technology. "Sir," said Sergeant Tony Davis, one of Matt's men, "I've been watching the aliens. During their meetings, they never ask questions about our history or our culture. Don't you think that's strange? Matt nodded. Most species would be curious about a new people they had just met. But the aliens acted like they already knew everything. About humans. Katie Phillips was getting better at understanding the alien language. She had recorded many of their conversations when they thought humans were not listening. What she heard made her afraid. The aliens did not call humans by their name. They called them the returned ones or the awakened. They talked about humans like they were something that was supposed to happen, not something new they had discovered. One conversation really scared Katie. Two aliens were talking about human children. One said, "Their abilities are starting to show. We may not have much time." Katie did not understand what abilities they meant, but the way the aliens talked made it sound like they were worried about something humans might do. Dr. Alex Warren was still studying the old stones in his lab. He had found more of them in different places around the world. All of them had the same strange marks that looked like alien writing. "This doesn't make sense," Alex said to his assistant, Dr. Ben Torres. "These stones are from Egypt, Peru, and China. They're all thousands of years old, but the writing matches the alien symbols perfectly." Ben looked at the stones carefully. Maybe the aliens visited Earth a long time ago? But they said they just found us, Alex replied. Why would they lie about that? Alex decided to dig deeper. He found old stories from many cultures around the world. Stories about star people who came from the sky. Stories about teachers who gave humans knowledge and then left. Stories about children of the stars who would return someday. All the stories were very old, and they all described beings that sounded just like the Zelathi. Captain Ryan Stone made another discovery on Mars. Deep under the ground, he found a chamber that was not natural. It was built by someone, but it was millions of years old. The chamber was full of the same crystals that the aliens used, but these crystals were arranged in patterns that looked like star maps. Ryan took pictures of everything and sent them back to Earth. When Dr. Warren saw the pictures, he got very excited. The star maps matched patterns he had found in ancient temples on Earth. Someone had been mapping the stars from both Earth and Mars millions of years ago. The pieces of a puzzle were starting to come together, but the picture they made was scary. The aliens were not new visitors. They had been here before, long ago. Maybe they had never really left. Emma Foster found more old signals in the radio station's records. The signals went back 50 years. They came from different directions in space, but they all had the same pattern. It's like they've been talking to each other about us for decades, Emma told her team. But why keep it secret? Katie Phillips had learned enough of the alien language to understand more of their conversations. What she heard made her run to find Matt Parker. "Sir, you need to hear this," Katie said, playing a recording of two aliens talking. The aliens were discussing humans like they were animals in a zoo. They talked about managing human development and keeping humans contained on Earth. They mentioned something called the protocols and worried about humans remembering too much. Matt listened to the recording twice. Then he called Admiral Lisa Carter. "Admiral, we have a problem," Matt said. "These aliens are not what they seem to be." Lisa had been having her own doubts. The aliens were always helpful, but they never let humans see inside their ships. They gave humans some technology, but not their best technology. They acted like teachers, but they never treated humans as equals. "What do you think they really want?" Lisa asked. "I don't know," Matt replied, "but I don't think they came here to help us. I think they came here to control us." As the weeks passed, more humans began to notice strange things about their alien visitors. The aliens knew too much about Earth. They were not surprised by anything humans did. They seemed to be waiting for something to happen. And in laboratories around the world, scientists were finding evidence that the aliens had been to Earth before, many times before. The question was not whether the aliens were hiding something. The question was what they were hiding, and why. Jake Morrison stood on his ship's bridge, looking at the alien fleet. The ships had not moved since they arrived. They just stayed there, watching Earth like guards watching a prison. Something was very wrong. And Jake had a feeling that humans were about to find out what it was. Dr. Ben Torres was digging in the hot sand of the Sahara Desert. His team had been working for days, following strange readings from their ground scanners. What they found changed everything. "Dr. Torres, you need to see this," called out Dr. Helen Moore, brushing sand away from something hard and smooth. Ben ran over to where Helen was working. Under the sand was something that looked like metal, but it was not metal. It was the same material the alien ships were made of. The same blue-silver color, the same smooth curves. "How deep does it go?" Ben asked. They dug for hours. The structure went down very deep into the earth. It was huge, like a buried city, and it was very, very old. "Run the age tests," Ben told his team. He was afraid of what they might find. The results came back the next day. The buried structure was over 50,000 years old. It was built before humans had cities, before they had writing, before they had farming. But the structure was made with the same technology as the Zelithy. Ships. Professor Helen Moore was an expert at reading old languages. She found writing inside the buried structure. The symbols were carved into the walls in long rows. Helen worked day and night to understand the writing. It was hard because it was older than any language she knew. But slowly she began to make sense of it. The writing told an amazing story. It spoke of star children who had been sent to grow on many worlds. It said these star children would one day reclaim their inheritance among the void. But the most shocking part was what the writing called Earth. It did not call Earth a planet or a world. It called Earth the first home and the mother of stars. "Ben, you need to read this," Helen said, her voice shaking. "According to this writing, Earth is not just another planet. Earth is where something important began, something that spread to the stars." Captain Nick Davis was patrolling the space around Earth when his sensors picked up something strange near the asteroid belt. It was a ship, but it was not moving. It looked dead in space. "Take us closer," Nick told his pilot Dot as they got near the dead ship. Nick could see it was damaged. Parts of it were missing, like something had hit it long ago. But the basic shape looked familiar. "Sir, that ship has human design features," said his engineer, Susan Clark. "But the technology is way beyond anything we can build." Nick suited up and went outside his ship to explore the dead vessel. Inside, he found rooms that were built for humans. The chairs were the right size. The controls were in the right places. Everything was made for human hands and human eyes. The technology was incredible. The computers were far more advanced than anything on Earth. The engines used power sources that humans had only. Dreamed about Dot in what looked like the ship's control room, Nick found star charts. They showed the galaxy with hundreds of marked systems. Earth was marked as Origin Point Alpha. Many other worlds were marked as colony site, or outpost, or settlement. "Susan, are you seeing this?" Nick said into his radio. "I see it, sir. According to this chart, humans have colonies all over the galaxy, but that's impossible. We've never been to other stars." Nick found more charts showing travel routes between the marked systems. The routes were very old, but they showed regular traffic between Earth and dozens of other worlds. "Unless," Nick said slowly, "we have been to other stars, a long time ago." Dr. Rose Bennett was a genetics expert. She studied DNA and how living things were related to each other. The aliens had given humans some of their DNA for research. What Rose found made her call an emergency meeting. The Zealothi are not aliens, Rose announced to the shocked room of scientists. They are human. Everyone started talking at once. Rose held up her hand for quiet. Their DNA is human DNA, but it has been changed, modified. They are what humans might become if we changed our bodies to live in space for thousands of years. Admiral Lisa Carter stared at the genetic reports. Are you saying the Zealothi are descended from humans? Not just descended from humans, Rose replied. They are humans. Humans who left Earth long ago and adapted to life among the stars. The room was silent. Everyone was trying to understand what this meant. Dr. Alex Warren had been putting together all the evidence from around the world. The buried structures, the ancient writings, the old stories, the genetic evidence, everything pointed to the same impossible truth. Humans did not just develop space travel, Alex explained to the gathered leaders. Humans had space travel 50,000 years ago. Maybe longer. We had an empire that spanned the galaxy. President Carol Adams shook her head. But if that's true, what happened to it? Why don't we remember? Alex pulled up pictures on the big screen. They showed ancient ruins from around the world. All of them had signs of terrible damage. Something bad happened, Alex said. Something that destroyed most of human civilization. The few humans who survived on Earth had to start over from the beginning, but the humans who were living on other worlds survived. And they became the Zealothi, Lisa said, understanding. And probably many other groups, Alex agreed. The galaxy might be full of human descendants who have forgotten where they came from. Jake Morrison was listening to all this from his ship. The pieces were finally fitting together. The aliens were not aliens at all. They were human cousins who had been separated from Earth for thousands of years. But that raised new questions. Why did the Zealothi pretend to be strangers? Why did they act like they had just discovered Earth? What were they really trying to do? Captain Ryan Stone was still on Mars, but now he was looking at the ancient crystals with new eyes. If humans had been traveling the galaxy 50,000 years ago, then these crystals were human technology. Very old human technology. Amy, what if these crystals are not alien devices? Ryan asked Dr. Amy Foster. What if they are human devices that we have forgotten how to make? Amy ran new tests on the crystals. When she changed her approach and looked for human rather than alien origins, everything made more sense. Ryan, these crystals are designed to work with human brain patterns, Amy said excitedly. They are made to be used by humans, not aliens. Katie. Phillips had been listening to more alien conversations. Now that she knew the Zealothi were human, their words meant different things. When the aliens talked about the returned ones, they meant humans on Earth. When they talked about awakened abilities, they meant humans remembering their old knowledge. They're afraid of us, Katie told Matt Parker. They're afraid that we'll remember who we used to be. Dr. Emma Foster made another discovery at the radio station. The signals from space were not just from the Zealothi. There were signals from many different directions, all using similar technology. The galaxy is full of human colonies, Emma realized, and they've been talking to each other for thousands of years. But they never told the colonies about Earth. As all the evidence came together, one thing became clear. Earth was not a young world that needed guidance. Earth was the original home of a vast human civilization that had once ruled the galaxy. And somewhere out there among the stars, humans were still ruling it. They had just forgotten that Earth was their beginning. The Zealothi had not come to help Earth join the galaxy. They had come to make sure Earth never remembered what it had lost. But it was too late. The truth was coming out. And once humans on, Earth learned who they really were. Everything would change. The galaxy was about to remember why it had once belonged to humanity. Admiral Steve Clark had heard enough. The evidence was clear that the Zelathi were hiding the truth about human history. He called together Earth's best military leaders for a secret meeting. "We need to know what's really out there," Steve told the group. "If humans have colonies among the stars, we need to find them." Jake Morrison volunteered to lead the first secret mission. Using technology copied from the alien ships, human engineers had built faster spacecraft. These ships could travel to other star systems in weeks instead of years. "We'll start with the closest systems marked on those ancient charts," Jake said. "If we find human colonies, we'll learn the real truth about our history." The first ship left Earth in secret 3 days later. Jake commanded the mission with a crew of 20 brave volunteers. They headed for Alpha Centauri, the nearest star system marked as a human colony on the ancient charts. What they found there amazed them. Orbiting Alpha Centauri was a huge space station. It was clearly built by humans, but it was larger than anything Earth had ever constructed. The station was home to millions of people. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of Earth," Jake broadcast to the station. "Please respond." The answer came quickly. "Earth?" said a confused voice. "Earth was destroyed thousands of years ago. Who are you really?" Jake felt his heart stop. Earth was not destroyed. "We are from Earth. We are human." There was a long silence. Then the voice came back, full of excitement. "This is impossible. Earth is a myth, a legend. No one has heard from Earth in over 40,000 years." Commander Julia Reed was leading another secret mission to the Proxima Centauri system. What she found there was even more shocking than Jake's discovery. Floating in space near Proxima Centauri was a massive structure that looked like a giant library. It was made of the same blue-silver material as the alien ships, but it was clearly very old. "We're picking up automated signals from that structure," reported her communications officer, Officer Tim Foster. "It's broadcasting in ancient human languages." Julia took her ship closer to the giant structure. As they approached, systems inside the structure began to wake up. Lights came on, and a voice spoke to them. "Welcome, children of Earth," the voice said in perfect English. "I am the Central Archive. I have been waiting for you to return." Julia and her crew went inside the structure. What they found was beyond their wildest dreams. The Central Archive contained the complete history of human civilization, going back over 100,000 years. The computer systems showed Julia everything. How humans had first developed space travel. How they had spread to hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. How they had built an empire that lasted for tens of thousands of years. "What happened to the empire?" Julia asked the archive. "A cosmic disaster," the archive replied. "A gamma ray burst from a dying star hit this region of the galaxy. It damaged many worlds and destroyed the communication networks between them. Earth was hit the hardest and lost almost all of its technology and people." The archive showed Julia star maps of the entire galaxy. Hundreds of systems were marked as human colonies. Some were marked as active, others as lost contact, and others as destroyed. "Are all these colonies still inhabited?" Julia asked. "Most of them, yes," the archive said. "But after losing contact with Earth, each colony developed on its own. Many of them have forgotten their origins. Some have changed so much they no longer look human." Julia realized what this meant. The galaxy was full of humans, but they did not know they were related to each other. Back on Earth, Dr. Rose Bennett was making more genetic discoveries. She had gotten DNA samples from humans in the Alpha Centauri system through Jake's mission. The results were incredible. "All the human colonies are genetically related," Rose explained to the Emergency Council. "But each colony has adapted to its local environment. Some can breathe different atmospheres. Some are taller or shorter. Some are stronger or smarter. But they are all human. President Carol Adams listened to all the reports coming in from the secret missions. Each ship that left Earth found more human colonies. Each colony had developed differently, but they all remembered legends about Earth. How many colonies are out there? Carol asked. Admiral Steve Clark looked at the growing list. So far, we've confirmed over 50 inhabited systems. The ancient charts show hundreds more. Carol, we're not a small planet that just learned about space travel. We're the capital of a galactic empire that got lost. Dr. Alex Warren was working with the Central Archive through long-range communications. The archive was teaching him about humanity's true history. Earth was not just the first human world, Alex learned. Earth was the center of government, science, and culture for the entire human galaxy. When Earth fell, the empire lost its heart. The archive showed Alex records of what the different colonies had become. Some had focused on science and became very advanced. Others had focused on military power and became strong warriors. Others had focused on trade and became wealthy merchants. The Zealothi are from a group of colonies that focused on exploration and diplomacy, the archive explained. They have been traveling between the human worlds for thousands of years, pretending to be the leaders of the galaxy. But why keep Earth's survival a secret? Alex asked. Because if the colonies knew Earth still existed, they would want to reunite, the archive said. The Zealothi and other colonial powers would lose their control over the scattered human worlds. Captain Ryan Stone made a discovery on Mars that explained everything. Deep in the ancient crystal chambers, he found a working communication device. When he activated it, signals went out across the galaxy. Ryan, what did you just do? Asked Dr. Amy Foster. I think I just turned on an ancient communication network, Ryan replied. Look at this. The device was receiving responses from across the galaxy. Hundreds of human colonies were answering the signal. They were all asking the same question. Is Earth really alive? Katie Phillips was monitoring all the incoming signals. The response from the galaxy was incredible. Human colonies that had not talked to each other in thousands of years were suddenly in contact again. But not all the responses were friendly. Some colonies demanded proof that Earth was real. Others declared that they would not give up their independence. And some, like the Zealothi, were clearly afraid of what Earth's return might mean. The galaxy is waking up, Katie reported to Admiral Lisa Carter, but it's not going to be a peaceful reunion. Dr. Emma Foster detected a massive increase in space traffic throughout the solar system. Ships were coming from everywhere, but they were not all friendly. We have Zealothi reinforcements arriving, Emma reported, but we also have ships from other human colonies. They all want to see Earth for themselves. Ambassador Cathvar requested an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. When he arrived, he looked very different from the calm diplomat who had first greeted humanity. You have made a terrible mistake, Cathvar told President Carol Adams. The galaxy was stable. The human colonies were at peace under our guidance. Now you have awakened old conflicts that should have stayed buried. You mean you were keeping the human colonies from reuniting? Carl replied. You were preventing them from remembering their true history. For good reason, Cathvar said angrily. Do you know what happened the last time all the human colonies were united? War, destruction, millions of deaths. We have kept peace for 40,000 years by keeping the colonies separate. Jake Morrison returned to Earth with representatives from several human colonies. Each group looked different from Earth humans, but they were all clearly related. The delegate from Alpha Centauri was tall and thin, adapted for low gravity. The delegate from Wolf 359 had darker skin and larger eyes, adapted for dim light. The delegate from Barnard Star was shorter and stronger, adapted for high gravity. But they all had human DNA. They all had human intelligence. and they all remembered stories about Earth. "We want to come home," said the delegate from Alpha Centauri. "Our ancestors came from Earth. We belong here." "Earth belongs to all humans," agreed the delegate from Wolf 359. "It is time for the children to return to their mother world." As reports came in from across the galaxy, the scope of humanity's true empire became clear. There were not just hundreds of human colonies. There were thousands, maybe tens of thousands. And now they all knew that Earth was alive. Azelithy had controlled the galaxy by keeping humans divided and ignorant of their true heritage. But that control was ending. Earth had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The question now was not whether humanity would reunite. The question was what kind of galaxy they would build when they did. President Carol Adams stood before the United Nations as representatives from dozens of human colonies filled the Great Hall. For the first time in 40,000 years, humans from across the galaxy were meeting on Earth. The delegates looked very different from each other. Some were tall, some were short. Some had pale skin, others had dark skin. Some had large eyes adapted for dim stars. Others had strong bodies adapted for heavy gravity worlds. But they were all human. And they were all home. Today marks the end of humanity's long separation, Corral said to the assembled delegates. Today we reclaim our place as one people among the stars. The crowd erupted in cheers. Delegates from hundreds of worlds stood and applauded. Many had tears in their eyes. Ambassador Kethver sat in the back of the hall with other Zealoty delegates. They looked unhappy and worried. Their control over the galaxy was ending. Commander Julia Reed had returned from the Central Archive with amazing news. The ancient computer system had agreed to share all of humanity's lost knowledge with every human world. The archive contains technologies that took our ancestors millions of years to develop, Julia announced. Medical knowledge that can cure any disease. Engineering knowledge that can build ships faster than light. Scientific knowledge that can predict the future of stars. Dr. Grace Evans, who had been working with the archive's databases, stood to address the assembly. "We have been living like children, playing with broken toys," Grace said. "The technologies that other species took thousands of years to develop are our birthright. We created them long ago. We just forgot how to use them." Captain Tony Mitchell had been busy preparing Earth's space defenses. Not all of the galaxy's human colonies were happy about Earth's return. Some had become enemies of other human groups during the long separation. "We have reports of 3 colonial fleets moving toward Earth," Tony reported to Admiral Steve Clark. "They claim they want to verify that Earth is real. But their intentions may not be peaceful." "How long until they arrive?" Steve asked. 2 weeks for the closest fleet. They have about 50 ships. Steve nodded grimly. "Then we need to be ready." Dr. Rose Bennett had been studying the genetic patterns of all the human colonies. What she discovered was wonderful and terrible at the same time. Each colony developed special abilities based on their environment, Rose explained to the medical team. The colonies near radiation sources developed immunity to radiation. The colonies on high-gravity worlds developed incredible strength. The colonies on worlds with dangerous predators developed enhanced reflexes. "What about Earth humans?" asked Dr. Amy Foster. "Earth humans are different," Rose said. "We didn't specialize in one area. We kept all the basic human abilities. That makes us weaker in some ways, but more flexible in others. We can adapt to any environment." Katie Phillips had been coordinating communications with human colonies across the galaxy. The response was overwhelming. "We have over 3,000 colonies requesting permission to send representatives to Earth," Katie reported. "And we have over 1 million individual humans requesting permission to immigrate to Earth. How many ships are heading our way?" asked Admiral Lisa Carter. Last count was over 200 ships from friendly colonies. But we also have hostile fleets from the Zelathi and their allies. The first major test came when Fleet Commander Dan Parker arrived from the Tau Ceti system. His ships were massive and heavily armed. They demanded that Earth prove its legitimacy as the Mother World. Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral, met the Tau Ceti fleet in space beyond the moon. "Commander Parker," Jake said over the radio, "welcome to the Sol system. We are honored to meet our cousins from Tau Ceti." "Do not call us cousins," Parker replied coldly. "Our people left Earth because Earth was weak. We have built a strong civilization without Earth's help. Why should we acknowledge Earth's authority now?" "Because Earth is home," Jake said simply. "No matter how far we travel or how strong we become, Earth is where humanity began. Earth is where we all belong." The confrontation lasted for hours. Ships from both sides powered up their weapons. For a moment, it looked like the first meeting between human colonies in 40,000 years would end in war. Then something unexpected happened. Captain Nick Davis, who had discovered the ancient derelict ship, broadcast the star charts he had found to both fleets. "Look at these charts," Nick said. "They show the original colony ships leaving Earth to settle Tau Ceti. Commander Parker, your ancestors were volunteers who left Earth to spread human civilization to the stars. They were heroes, not refugees." Parker studied the charts. Slowly, his hostile attitude changed. "My people have legends about the great journey," Parker said quietly. "We always thought they were just stories." "They were not stories," Jake replied. "They were history." One by one, Commander Parker's ships powered down their weapons. The Tau Ceti fleet had come to challenge Earth. Instead, they joined the growing alliance of human worlds. The Zelathi were not giving up easily. Ambassador Kethver demanded a private meeting with President Carol Adams. "You are destroying 40,000 years of peace," Kethver said angrily. "The human colonies were scattered for good reasons. United, they will tear the galaxy apart with war. United, they will make the galaxy strong," Carol replied. "The Zelathi fear human unity because it means the end of your control." "Our control kept the peace," Kethvar insisted. "Your control kept humans weak and divided," Carol said. "That ends now." Dr. Alex Warren made the final breakthrough when he connected Earth's communication systems to the Central Archive. Suddenly, every human world in the galaxy could access humanity's complete historical record. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Human colonies that had forgotten their origins suddenly remembered. Human groups that had been enemies for thousands of years learned they were related. Human worlds that had struggled with basic technology suddenly had access to advanced science. The galaxy's other intelligent species watched in amazement as humanity transformed overnight from scattered primitive colonies into a unified advanced civilization. Captain Ryan Stone, now working directly with the Central Archive, made an announcement that changed everything. "The Archive has been monitoring the galaxy for 40,000 years, Ryan said. "It has detailed records of every human colony, every human achievement, and every human innovation since the Great Separation." "What does that mean?" asked President Carol Adams. "It means we know where every human in the galaxy lives," Ryan explained. "We know which colonies need help, which colonies are thriving, and which colonies are in danger. We can finally bring all of humanity home." The reunification of humanity did not happen overnight. Some colonies resisted. Some preferred their independence. Some had developed cultures so different from Earth that integration was difficult. But slowly, surely, the human worlds began to reconnect. Trade routes that had been abandoned for millennia reopened. Technologies that had been lost were rediscovered. Families that had been separated for thousands of generations were reunited. Captain Tony Mitchell led the effort to rebuild humanity's space infrastructure. Using designs from the Central Archive, human engineers began constructing ships and stations that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. "We are not just rebuilding human civilization," Tony announced. "We are building it better than it ever was before." The other species of the galaxy had watched humanity's reunion with concern. Some worried about human expansion. Others feared human technology. But most were simply amazed. For 40,000 years, they had known humans as scattered, primitive colonies struggling to survive. Now they were seeing humanity as it truly was. The galaxy's most successful and advanced civilization. God Ambassador Kethvar made one final attempt to maintain Zealoty control. He gathered a coalition of alien species and some resistant human colonies to oppose Earth's growing influence. Humanity must not be allowed to dominate the galaxy again, Kethvar declared. They are too dangerous when united. The coalition assembled a massive fleet to threaten Earth, but they had made a mistake. They had underestimated how quickly humanity could respond to a threat. Jake Morrison, now commanding Earth's new fleet, met the coalition forces at the edge of the solar system. "This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the United Human Worlds. Jake. Broadcast. You are threatening Earth, the mother world of humanity. Withdraw now or face the consequences." "You cannot stop us," Kethvar replied. "Your Earth fleet is outnumbered 10-1. "Look again," Jake said calmly. Suddenly, ships began peering throughout the solar system. Ships from hundreds of human colonies, all coming to defend Earth. The galaxy had not seen such a fleet since the height of the ancient human empire. The coalition forces found themselves outnumbered 100-1. "This is impossible," Kethvar whispered. "This is humanity," Jake replied. The coalition fleet retreated without firing a shot. The Zealothy's control over the galaxy was ended forever. Years later, Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of New Horizons Station, orbiting Earth. Through the windows, he could see ships from thousands of human worlds coming and going. The galaxy was alive with human activity. Once again, Dr. Emma Foster joined him at the window. She was now Director of Galactic Communications, coordinating between all the human worlds. "It's hard to believe it's only been 5 years since the Zealothy first arrived,"